Hey everyone, Gill here, and it is time to preview one of the two semifinals at the 2020 Australian Open, Roger Federer against Novak Djokovic. Meeting number 50, Djokovic leads the head-to-head 26 to 23. I'll also address both their quarterfinal matches, but first, I want to get the obvious stuff out of the way when it comes to previewing this match. I want to get the facts. Federer has never been a bigger underdog in this matchup. That's a fact. It's not an opinion. You can bet $10 on Roger Federer to win this match, and the payout is more than $50. He has never been this big an underdog. So let's just address the reasons why right off the bat. Federer was 2 points away from losing to John Millman, down 8-4 in a match tiebreak. He was 1 point away from losing to Tennis Sandgren on 7 separate occasions. Djokovic comes into the match having just smoked Milos Raonic, no problem, no sweat. Smoked Diego Schwartzman, no problem, no sweat. There's a huge disparity in the impressiveness of Djokovic's results coming in versus Federer's results coming in, and form has reflected that. Second thing is the uncertainty around Roger Federer's health. One thing that is true is that he's been on court over 12 hours. Roger Federer has never had 12 hours of court time going into an Australian Open semifinal. He's never been on court that long going into a semifinal. More specifically, in the match against Tennis Sandgren, he had periods of that match, especially in the fourth set, where he was dealing with tightness in his groin, was not moving explosively, was not serving the ball hard, and there is a lot of uncertainty about if Federer will step onto the court, period. And if he does step onto the court, will it be Roger Federer at 100%? The third factor, it's the smallest factor. The first two are the most important. The third factor is Djokovic's history on this court, where he is a 7-time champion and the defending champion, and he's been great. That's the third factor, not as big a factor. So Federer comes into this a massive underdog. We wouldn't have expected this before the tournament. Why? Because Federer, the last 2 times Federer has played Djokovic, Djokovic has won 1 at Wimbledon. Federer won the latest meeting in London at the ATP Finals. But in both those matches, one thing was true. Federer was in charge. It was Djokovic under more pressure, doing more moving, doing more running, playing more defense, and it was often Djokovic on scrambling and just having to work a little bit harder than Federer, and that isn't always the case when these two play. Now, sure, Federer plays a more aggressive style than Djokovic, and Djokovic is perfectly comfortable defending. Djokovic defending, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but still, you got the sense that to a certain extent, the last 2 meetings between Federer and Djokovic both were on Federer's racket, where Djokovic had to rely on steadiness, stability, and resilience in order to pull through the match at Wimbledon. Couldn't pull through the match in London. So it's a tad surprising that after those 2 matches where Federer looked so competitive, now coming into the match in London, he hadn't beat Djokovic on a hard court. Was it since 2013? It had been a while. No, since 2015, excuse me. I'm thinking of Nadal against Djokovic on a hard court. But since 2015, he hadn't beaten Djokovic. That was also in London. So it's a bit surprising, though, that this match comes at a time and Federer's the biggest underdog he's been. Based on that, we wouldn't think that. But I have to say, I think that the number one thing I'm interested to see is if that trend changes in this match. That this match is not on Federer's racket. that Federer is put on the defensive, that he is not moving Djokovic around as much. And I'm wondering I'm wondering if that trend will reverse. Because the biggest adjustments in Djokovic's game in 2020, to me, the number one thing is his second serve, which he's hitting it so big. He's added an average of 6 miles per hour on his second serve. About 60% of Djokovic's second serves are over 105 miles per hour. A great article was just written on 538.com about this. I want to credit the journalist, so let me just pull that up real quick. It was written by Amy Lundy. Amy Lundy wrote a great article about this on 538. Djokovic, but I said it before, I've noticed it before. It's hard not to notice it. Djokovic is hitting really big second serves. I'd be willing to bet that most of the time when Federer breaks Djokovic, there are a couple of points in that given game where Federer takes offense off his second serve return right away, or his first serve return. Is that mitigated by Djokovic being a little bit more aggressive? I also think that when Djokovic played Nadal in the final of the ATP Cup, Djokovic's shot selection was as aggressive as I've ever seen it. Something tells me that Novak Djokovic isn't going to be wanting to defend isn't going to be too eager to play this match how he's played the last two against Federer, where Federer's serve and forehand has dominated, where Federer has used the short slice to bring Djokovic in and then use his drive to push him back. And it has been the lateral pressure in variation that Federer has put on Djokovic so brilliantly in the last two matches that has had Djokovic on his heels, just trying to make as many balls as he can, not very offensively minded, except in spurts and some signature points that come to mind. But for the most part, he is hoping to outlast Federer. He's not really taking matters into his own hand in the last two matches. Again, brilliant serving by Federer, great forehands by Federer in those two matches, and great job using the variation of the short slice that again Djokovic needs to get inside the court in order to handle it, and then Federer will reply when Djokovic is not in defensive position. He'll reply with a strong, aggressive drive. So, I'm interested to see if Djokovic will be more offensive in this one. Now let me go to the Federer side. For Federer, the question is, will these conditions support what he's done in the last two matches against Djokovic, where he's had a chance to win both? Will the conditions on Rod Laver Arena in Rod Laver Arena support Federer's game plan? To me, only one out of two. I can only check one out of the two boxes that Federer wants when it comes to conditions against Djokovic. The first condition that Federer wants is a court that takes slice well. That's going to be a low bouncing court, and that's the main thing. There might be other factors, but the main thing is that he wants a low bouncing court. Clay, not ideal. Indian Wells, not ideal. This court, it's low bouncing. It's taking slice pretty well. That's huge for Federer because in a neutral baseline rally, especially on the backhand to backhand pattern, Federer he's in huge trouble if he can't use his slice with effectiveness. Huge trouble. The variation that Federer brings on his backhand is what troubles Djokovic. That's the only thing that troubles Djokovic. If Federer drove every backhand, oh my God, Novak would love that. He would love that. So the court is taking slice well. But the other box is how easy and how much power does it require for the court to be hit through. And this looks like heavy conditions. Throughout this week and a half, Nadal said it after the match against Thiem. These are heavy conditions. It's hard to hit through these courts. I've seen so many players struggle to hit through these courts. I think Medvedev struggled. I think Stan struggled against Zverev. I think Federer struggled against Millman. I'm confident in saying that Federer struggled to hit through John Millman. In the conditions, John's a good mover. Federer didn't hit through it very well. That's not good. This court is slower than center court at Wimbledon, and I know some people like to say that Wimbledon's slow now. I mean, no, it's not slow. It's not as fast as it used to be. Anyway, I think it's slower than Wimbledon, and I think it's slower than the ATP Finals. And I want to just reiterate the fact that this surface has changed, that the manufacturer is different. I just want to reiterate that, which I have on previous videos. All right. Before I get to my actual prediction, what's going to happen in the match, quickly I want to address Djokovic's quarterfinal with Raonic. The returns that the returning skill that Djokovic displayed was incredible. He was able to dig his teeth into a huge percentage of Raonic's service games. But what most impressed me about the match that Djokovic played against Raonic, is that Raonic played really clutch on serve, saved a lot of break points, especially in the first set. And the hallmark of a very confident player is when missed opportunities really don't bother that player, when they can turn the page. And Djokovic just turned the page on so many missed breakpoint opportunities, especially in the first set. Never seemed frustrated, seemed so calm. What is that? That's confidence. That's confidence that the next breakpoint will come. If you have insecurity, if you have doubt, then you're thinking, oh, this might be my only chance. So Djokovic just showing off confidence, amazing returning, and you know that it's going to be easy pickings against Raonic if Djokovic is returning his serve. Simple. That's my thoughts on that match. Straight set victory for Novak. Federer, not so straightforward, as I said at the top. 7 match points for Tennis Sandgren. All those set points came in the fourth set. Federer was dealing with an injury. That injury was at its worst in the fourth set. His movement got better in the fifth, and Roger won it 6-3. What happened in this match, and I must admit, I couldn't watch all of it, but I did watch the fourth set. I did watch the fifth set. What happened here is Federer made a decision, a very savvy decision, to not beat himself in this match. He did not have his movement. He did not have his serve, but he made a commitment to putting balls in the court. That's not how Federer wants to play. That's not how Federer plays at a high level. Federer plays at a high level from being aggressive, but he just didn't have the explosive movement that would require him to be aggressive with effectiveness. So he sat back. The intensity of his footwork was like at a practice during an event intensity. Don't get me wrong, outside of an event, I'm sure Federer trains as if he's playing a match. But during an event, if you watch Federer practice, 75% movement, and that's what he was playing the majority of the fourth set with. For sure. But really just, he had no pressure. He was calm. And Sandgren was not playing close enough to the lines to make Federer move. Federer was hitting his spots on his serve, wasn't using any legs, just placing it. Sandgren wasn't taking offense off the return. And Federer was content to just remain very solid and hope that Sandgren didn't hit balls past him. And tennis in the 7 match points, he never got it done. He never hit it past Federer. Federer didn't do much in those points. I think there was one point where Roger went to the net and made a nice offensive play, but for the most part, Federer was hanging back and trading and mixing up his slice and his topspin backhand and just, again, saying, okay, I might lose this match, but I'm going to make my opponent earn it. And he didn't earn it. In the fifth set, Federer's movement looked better. Sandgren was beside himself. But I think that Federer just put balls on the court, and it worked. I think it's really cool that Federer's never retired in a match. I think that's an awesome record and something to be proud about. And again, he showed that instead of retiring, let me just... I have good anticipation. Let me just try to anticipate, not move with much intensity, hit my spots on the serve, not try to serve too big, and just see what happens. And look, did Sandgren get it done? No, absolutely not. Could he have? Probably. But Federer survives. And that's that. Here's what I think will happen in the Federer versus Djokovic match, meeting number 50, as I said. I don't think the conditions are perfect for Federer. I think he has trouble hitting through Djokovic. I don't think his forehand has been consistent enough. I don't think his serving has been good enough for Roger Federer throughout this tournament. That would need to step up in a really, really big way. Federer's level would need to step up in a really big way in order to play this match competitively. There needs to be a shift in level. On the other side of the net, I think Djokovic is going to play this match way more aggressive than he did the previous two against Federer. I don't think he's going to miss as many returns, especially on the second serve, as he did in that Wimbledon final. Again, I don't think Federer's serve is at the level that it was in London, at the O2 in the ATP finals. I don't think that Federer's forehand isn't the same level that he was hitting it at the ATP finals. So I agree with the odds. I think this is the easiest time I've had picking this matchup in quite a long time. My prediction is Djokovic in straight sets. Tomorrow, I will have a preview of Zverev and Thiem. Stay tuned for that. Till next time, enjoy this Federer-Djokovic match. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.